What is up, everybody? This is Hunter with Lost Socket Garage. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Blueberry, the progress we've made on it, hopefully some before and afters. We're going to be talking about the suspension setup that we've put in this car, why we chose it, and also we're going to be taking a look at another viewer submitted video of their 65 project. So let's get into it. All right, before we get too far into the Blueberry or viewer submitted videos, I just wanted to take a quick second. Thank you guys for 4,500 subscribers. The channel's growing a lot lately, and we're also having a lot of people commenting and you know, giving us feedback, and it's really, really nice to hear what you guys have to say. So if you do like the content, like, subscribe. We are starting to kind of build a little bit of a community here, which I'm really excited about. So if you want to be part of that community, if you want to support the channel, we now have a community button, or it's the join button down at the bottom of this video. You can click that and support the channel if you want. Otherwise, subscribing just helps. It's all nice. But today, first off, we're going to lead off with a viewer submitted video talking about his 65. Now, Patrick, you're awesome. You've been following along for a long time, so I was really excited to see that you sent me a video, so let's take a look at your 65.
Hey, Lost Socket Garage. Hunter, you requested a 3-minute video. I'm having a hard time making a video. I don't ever do these things, but bear with me. Hey, when I was 8 years old, my dad bought me this 66 that I restored. I've got a whole photo album of the mess. Ended up restoring it in high school. Crashed it into a telephone pole shortly after high school. 30 plus years have gone by now, and I've got my project back. October, I got a 65 Coupe that is pretty much complete. All the parts are in the shed, but it needs a lot of body work, metal work. Back in the 90s, somebody tried to put floor pans in it, and they did okay with what they had in the time. Nothing fancy, you know, it's a 289 car, but it's got a 70s 302 in it. It didn't run when I got it running. Drove it around the block one time and then parked it back in November and started basically the metal work. I needed a whole trunk floor, tail light panel. Somebody's replaced this quarter at some point back in the 90s. I've got a receipt from one of the parts warehouses. Had a quarter panel patch put in that I wasn't too impressed with, so I bought a cheap skin. I'm on a really tight budget with 4 girls all in high school and college. It makes it difficult to have a little extra, but finally got the pennies put together, and Elizabeth said, hey, let's get a project that we can enjoy. And that's what we're trying to do right now, is just enjoy a project, get something to cruise with. Not anything fancy, guys. It's 289 car with a 302, like I said. I'm learning how to weld with a cheap flux core Harbor Freight welder. I am not a welder. I'm a diesel engine mechanic by trade. Work in service engineering for one of the major truck manufacturers here in Portland. And I'm learning to weld as I go. I had some rust patches in some spots. I've got a rocker that I've got to change out. I've got that on order. Got a door skin that I'm contemplating skin or just fixing it. Original doors, so we know how that goes. Originality is the best. Just like this quarter, I opted to keep the original quarter on there and just do a few patches here and there, and I got a skin to make a patch panel on. Not doing the greatest. I'm not too impressed with my abilities, but I'm trying the best I can. And man, I watch your videos and get inspired. I see some great things that you do, good hard work. Amazing, phenomenal metal work. I've got front end to work on this thing. I did the brakes first thing right away. My goal was to get it running, driving, stopping. I did so, got it to go around the block, and now it's metal work. And that seems to be the big deal, is doing it right and taking your time. But you, like I said, Hunter, you inspire me. You guys make it look easy, but boy, it's a passion. We love it. I hope to get down your way. I've got family up in Morgan. Next time we're in the Salt Lake Valley, definitely coming by to check it out. You guys rock. Keep up the hard work. Peace out, man.
Great video again, Patrick. Thank you so much for following along for a really long time and then showing us your 65. One of the things that I really like about that video is it really just shows how the average guy is working on his car piece by piece. And, you know, kind of our goal with this channel is to help you guys out there that are, you know, just learning to weld or just learning to put these together, best tips and tricks. So I'm glad that the content's helping you, Patrick, and keep going on your project. Another special thanks to all of you guys who have reached out to, you know, support us, Dan with the super likes and all that stuff like that. So again, if the content helps, consider joining our community and subscribing. Now on to the Blueberry. Let's get to the good stuff. All right, this is our 67 Blueberry. This is a customer car. You guys might recognize this from an earlier video when it was completely jacked up. Now, it's definitely not. So front to back, what we've done on this car is this was in a front end collision and probably another collision or 3 or 4. We put a new frame rail in it on this side. This torque box, hopefully I have a picture and I can put it in here right now. But this torque box was completely bent up. It was destroyed. The whole floor was jacked up. So there was a lot of stuff that we had to get done just to make it a solid car, a square car. But we did all that, and then, you know what? We added on some other stuff. We still have engine panels, obviously, to do, but we've thrown in the Mustangs to fear. Mustang 2 front end. We just love their product. It just fits amazing. Customer wanted upgraded brakes, so these are the step-up Dynalites from the Dynalites, cross-drilled and slotted rotors, 4-piston brakes, QA1 coilovers. We added in the optional jack pad from Mustangs to Fear. Mustangs to Fear, if you guys are watching, you guys are awesome. Make good stuff. Obviously still have to throw on the power steering and you know, the calipers and all that stuff, but we did end up adding in a torque box here as per the customer request. This thing is going to be solid. It's going to be like driving on rails. 67, if you guys don't know, did not have a passenger torque box. They did not put in a passenger torque box in the Fastbacks or Coupes until 68. They were standardized in convertibles though on both sides. So moving back, obviously we did a full floor. We did floor to firewall patches. Still have to seam seal and clean up all of this stuff. So no judgments yet, people. We're not done with this thing. New forward floor supports. This is the new floor that we put in. This is a fun one. Frame rail connectors. Again, another reason this car is just going to be super, super solid. We did opt for the bolt-in ones, but I weld them in. And I'm trying to remember what brand these are right now, but I don't remember. I know Detroit Speed makes some, but you have to cut into the floor pan to install them. Didn't really want to go that route, so we just went with the basic ones. Now, this car is getting like a built 351, so it really doesn't need all this stiffness, but she's going to be driving on rails. Moving towards the back, this is the cradle for the 4-link suspension. Now we're running into a little bit of an issue here because we don't have a motor and trans in this car, so we can't really set the pinion angle on the stock rear end, plus the customer might not keep the stock rear end. So currently we're just going to kind of set it up and then throw the old leaf springs rear end back in, but it'll be ready for him just to mount up his coilovers and then set his pinion angle and you know, put those mounts on the rear end. So this car front and back is super, super solid, which is really nice because this car started off really, really messed up and not solid whatsoever. Did some outer wheel wells. We will be coating the underneath of this car in the Raptor lining as well. We're also going to be doing the interior in the same product. But as far as suspension is concerned, really, this thing would be ready for a Coyote and it would be totally fine. Like I said, probably just a 351 and a 5 speeds going in it, but So this is a little bit overkill, but the car is just gonna handle like a dream. It's gonna have some sound deadening properties with that Raptor lining. Just a solid car. So we're gonna be making some more progress on this, finishing up the brakes today and some other stuff, finishing up the conversion, gotta get the tail panel in and stuff like that, but the Blueberry's coming a long way. Derry, isn't the Blueberry coming a long way?
Yes.
Are you enjoying working on the Blueberry?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's your cameo, bud. Did you enjoy it?
Great, it's great.
I'll put you in the credits. All right, so we're gonna fast forward a couple of days. We've actually made some good progress on the Blueberry. Thrown in the engine panels, you'll notice that the interior is a lot darker now. We've actually used our Raptor lining product. I say our Raptor lining product like we made it. I wish. Raptor line, again, we're not sponsored by these guys at all. I just show you guys the stuff that we use. Really nice product if you like a textured look that helps with sound deadening. You know, this is basically truck bed liner. You can thin this out a little bit to where it's more flat, it's less textured. But the more texture you have, the more sound deadening you have. So we threw a couple of coats of epoxy primer. Once I went through and sanded everything down, got all the surface rust off, etc. And we went ahead and covered it in epoxy primer, a couple coats first and foremost. And then we went ahead and used the Raptor lining product. I think I used 6 or 7 of the bottles of Raptor lining for the whole interior of the car. So if that helps you guys out at all when you're going to the paint store to get the Raptor lining, you probably need about 6 to 7 of the bottles of it to cover the interior. We are going to do the underneath next, but I got to get it back on the jack to do that. What I wanted to do first is start throwing in our engine panels. Now, again, Mustangs to Fear, wonderful product. They offer these optional panels from, because you are deleting your shock towers. So these panels they do offer. They also offer a whole front panel, which would replace this entire engine panel, and it'll give it a little bit more of this beveled look to it. So we're just kind of wrapping some of this stuff up on the front end. And then we're going to get the car back on a lift, and I'll rhino line the interior, and then we're just going to be doing little bits and bobs on this. Trunks on the way, and fenders, and quarter panel extensions, all that. We'll bring you guys a video once it's rolling out of the shop for the last time. But yeah, this is the Blueberry, which is kind of nuts compared to how it started. Pro tip for you guys out there doing your own Raptor lining job or truck bed lining or whatever, don't get this stuff on your skin. And if it gets on your skin, get it off immediately by any means necessary, because if it dries, it's so hard to get off. It never comes off. Now, when talking suspension, you have a lot of different options, and we kind of covered a little bit of this in one of our previous videos. If I find it, I'll put it in one of the corners. But you know, suspension is something that you really need to plan out, especially if you're doing a full restoration. I think every single one of you should be doing frame rail connectors first and foremost. Now, I got an interesting question the other day via email or one of the YouTube comments asking if frame rail connectors would help during the actual conversion process, because I have a lot of people reaching out talking about bracing. These are, again, unibody cars, so 2 sets of frame rails, but nothing, you know, connecting them. So when you're cutting a car in half for a conversion, or you're replacing a floor or a roof, or, you know, cross supports, etc., you really need to be cognizant of the fact that your car could just buckle. So bracing is very, very important. So if you're replacing like a floor pan or something like that, the more bracing you have, the better. And frame rail connectors can only really help at that point. So if you do plan on doing a conversion, throw some frame rail connectors in first. It'll give you a little bit more peace of mind. The biggest reason you want to plan out your suspension, you know, you want to start with the overall goal of the build, what your drivetrain is going to be. You don't need anything crazy like this if you're just sticking with a 289, 302, 351. Really, this car is going to be, it's overbuilt for what it's going to have. But it is still something that you should consider. Quality of life is a big thing too. So when you're looking at this Mustang 2 front end or frame rail connectors or your 4-link suspension, it's going to make the entire car ride more solid, and it's going to help your turning. When you guys, you know, are out there driving classic cars, they were made as high horsepower boats essentially. So, you know, you're going down the freeway like this, or you're, you know, going around a turn and you kind of got that huge wobble. Doing coilover suspension, 4-link and back, or doing a Mustang 2 front end, or in general, just updating your suspension and throwing on frame rail connectors, it's always a really good bet. And if you have any questions on that stuff, feel free to reach out to us. You know, we're happy to kind of point you in the right direction. That's it for this video. Again, I wanted to say a big thank you guys to our community that seems to be growing a little bit faster these days. Reach out with any questions you have, lostsocketgarage@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all of the social medias. Like and subscribe. Again, shameless plug, but it really does help the channel. And it helps the shop. You know, I want to continue bringing you guys these videos that at least hopefully help some of you. I love the feedback, even the negative feedback. For those of you who didn't like my old haircut, it's okay, it's gone. I don't have a top knot anymore. Fucking dumbass. But thanks again to everyone. Until next time, do what you love, don't be a dick, and as always, never be tamed. Peace!